representation. If you guys, if we're talking about movies, Black Panther, the Marvel movie, in case you're not a Marvel geek like they say, and I'm not, but Black Panther is one of the characters, and it is getting a film coming out in February. Cast is basically every black actress or an actor in Hollywood is in there. So in regards to that, the complaints or concerns were heard. They even brought in, when they were looking for directors, they brought in all directors of color to interview or to try to lock in that position. Ryan Coogler, who was the director of Fruitvale Station, he directed Creed. He also, him and Michael B. Jordan have another movie in the can after this. He's the director behind it. The woman who does costuming, she did costuming for Selma, for a bunch of other movies of color. She is the costumer. So different elements were brought in to make sure that the diversity and the trueness and the richness of the story is brought to life. And that's what you need. And it seems like sometimes Hollywood misses that. Because with Aladdin, you can make this, you can make Aladdin such a beautiful story. A beautiful live action, visually and culturally and emotionally.
And one thing I will mention too, speaking of schools, so when I was up at the University of Oregon, I took a Bollywood class, and it was so enlightening and it was so refreshing, and we watched the really beautifully done, artistic, musically and dancing fulfilled movies that are 3 to 5 hours long. I mean, these are long films. But one thing that we learned by doing this, study work is that a lot of the actors and actresses in the Bollywood films do not sing their own numbers. A lot of them have voiceovers who will come in and record all of those moments where they are supposed to be singing, and the actors and the actresses literally lip sync most of the film, and then they just act. And so in the case of Aladdin, if we want to talk about being culturally on point, it wouldn't be the worst thing to have somebody to voice over, and they almost could make it part of the Bollywood theme, where they have in the live action film someone over at the microphone singing all of the parts. I mean, I could see them them really playing up that theme, because in the true Bollywood form, these actors and actresses don't always have to sing their own numbers. So interesting nugget.
And I'm looking up who is producing or directing this, because in the case of Black Panther, Michael B. You mentioned Michael B. Jordan. He's in it.
Michael B. Jordan is in it.
And the people behind, like Cornelia just went through the whole list, behind the scenes are going to help tell this story. All of them are of the descent. So you're going to get this passion project. I'm sure all of them, listen, it's Hollywood, it's a business, but in a passion project like this, it's not about the money. It's like, finally, because you're saying they missed the mark for years, for decades. They're finally
and they will continue to miss the mark, I'm sure, after this.
Oh, yeah. This is, again, it is beneficial, and it is helping to push the cause forward, but let's not be mistaken. Hollywood still has a long way to go, but again, representation matters. So when I hear this, and I think of Aladdin, and I think of Black Panther, and even Wonder Woman, I see the opportunity to affect so many younger people. Because just think about how many young kids will walk out of Aladdin feeling special and feeling like they matter and seeing themselves on camera. Same with Black Panther, and same with little girls. I saw Wonder Woman last week. Little girls are walking out of the theater doing high kicks and just so inspired and strong. So
and that's what you want.
That's what you want, and to have that opportunity as a studio in Hollywood, they should take advantage of it, because it doesn't come around that often.
And they got a big name with Will Smith to play the genie.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, this is going to be really beautifully done, and I think it's going to be great to see this when it's finished. But with all the backlash they're getting now, I think the pressure is truly on to not bring in an actor who is not of some sort of Middle Eastern descent at this point, because now I think that they have gotten so much of the negativity because they haven't made a decision, that they've got to stay true to the roots of the character, I think, in order to not make this blow up and become a big negative press moment before the release of something so great. I think they probably should cast someone of Middle Eastern descent to make sure.
Absolutely. And if they don't, they
be ready
if
for it.
Twitter is already going crazy now, that's just words. Those are just words. But if your box office numbers are going to completely plummet, especially because how much money I'm sure is going to go into a film like this. I mean, this is huge. Okay, you did mention who's behind it, directing it, Guy Ritchie. So what do you guys feel about that? I mean, could they have gone a different direction? Could they have stuck with that? I'm not sure on, let me see really quick.
I think it depends on who is willing to take on the project at the time, right?
As far as this one?
Yeah, because he's going to direct it.
Well,
Ritchie is in negotiations to adapt Aladdin to the big screen for Disney. It's unusual as Ritchie has been spending the bulk of his career on stylized, period-centric bro adventures.
But
from
what
the
didn't-
Sherlock Holmes franchise.
That one movie recently didn't work very
Man from
well.
Uncle.
yeah, and it gets touchy because the same thing, they had the same criticism behind the woman who directed Wonder Woman, going back to that. She directed Monster, but she had no real action movies in her bank. They were saying she's too junior to do this. This project is too huge for her, but it came out amazing. So if you have the vision and you can do it, then go for it. However, if it is supposed to be culturally specific and it's supposed to have a certain feeling and a certain richness to it, you do need to bring other players in and pieces in it to make sure that it is authentic to the actual story and that the purpose is served.
Because you can do your research all day long, but you get a whole different side of a culture when someone has lived it and has been in it. So not to say, I mean, for all I know, Guy Ritchie has experiences with the culture that we just aren't aware of, but we'll keep digging on that.
Yeah. Real quickly while we're on this topic, though, I know a lot of the people in Northern California remember the Train Heroes. Anthony Sadler, Alex Harletto, Spencer Stone. We didn't have Extra Shot yesterday, but they've all been cast to play themselves in the new Clint Eastwood film.
Which is great.
Which is going to be about the encounter they had with the terrorists on a train bound for Paris. That happened 2 years ago now. And the big talk yesterday was, wow, Clint Eastwood cast them to play themselves. And my whole thing with that is, I mean, that's great because even though they're not trained actors, maybe that means we'll get a real depiction of what truly happened in that moment rather than Hollywood trying to say, why don't we just fabricate this a little to make it bigger? I mean, they could still do that. But
the only concern I had was that, but okay, they're not trained actors, so it's such an important story to tell. You would hate to be distracted by a lack of acting skills. Cornelia, she's a working actress, and you had a point.
Yeah, you can get acting coaches on set. Not most shows, but a lot of shows will bring in coaching and someone to assist with actors between takes and while you're in the trailer, just to make sure that, you know, you're getting the best performance. But if it's an action piece, and not throwing any shade at this particular actor, however, if Vin Diesel can be out here in movies and we're watching that, because Vin Diesel's cool, but he's no Denzel.
Right.
So he's no Daniel Day-Lewis.
Getting the Oscar.
Right. So if Vin Diesel's out here pulling it off.
But they're primarily comedies. Well,
this action, it sounds like this movie's gonna be action because if it's going straight to the train scene and we're seeing like how it went down and it's all action. I mean,
well, they'll have to probably be taught how to do it in a way that doesn't feel stiff, and maybe it'll take a little coaching. But I'm excited for them. They're excited. They've been posting all over social media, so you can check it out now and see how their reactions are.
And shout out for the NorCal Connection.
Oh, NCC, baby.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Extra Shot. We are back tomorrow morning on Friday. Speaking of fries, today is
National Fry Day.
Go get your fry on. What? Okay. See you tomorrow.